As humanity, general humanity has a background, a motive, a purpose, a goal, a pattern to live by, and therefore they never find out the truth of authority. Here we're trying to find out the truth of it. So if you are at all serious to find the truth of it, you must observe. Observe not outside as it were, but observe why you have authority. Why you accept to obey somebody. With a beard, with garlands, with, all the hula around it. Why you obey? Psychologically, you obey a surgeon when he tells me I've got cancer, and he says, look, boy, you have got to go under the knife, and he has taken X-rays and all the rest of it and shows me how dangerous it is. I naturally obey. That's a natural, self-preserving instinct. But the other is not self-preserving instinct. It's a cultivated instinct. It's an educated instinct. It's a conditioned instinct. So, why will we, grown-up human beings, so-called civilized, obey? I'm not talking about law, the policeman, and all the rest of it. Psychologically, why is it that we obey? Is it because in that obedience to an authority, there is deep-rooted desire for security, or we think there is security in that? Right? Otherwise you wouldn't be here, would you? Would you honestly? So, in obedience to some person, idea, authority, and so on psychologically, we hope to live a life without conflict, without any kind of uncertainty, which is very, very, very disturbing, leading to neuroticism. So, being already psychologically neurotic, one gives oneself over to somebody and be dictated what to do. Aren't you doing that? So in that obedience there is the root of the desire for satisfaction and security. Please see this. And is there security in any teaching, in any idea, or in any person? You understand? You have to find out. A speaker like me comes along and says, there is truth, there is an ecstasy. The word ecstasy means to be outside of oneself. Right? Not inside of yourself and then have a great feeling of happiness, but ecstasy implies, the root meaning implies that you are completely outside of yourself. There is no self. So when one comes along like a person like me and says, there is a state of mind which is beyond death and conflict and sorrow, and therefore a mind that's full of compassion and intelligence. It says that. The speaker says that. And you come along and say, yes, what a marvelous idea. I wonder how you got it. And he says, if he's silly enough, I'm not. And he says, well, obey what I say. Obey completely. The more totally you obey, the greater your likelihood of having it. And your eagerness to have this extraordinary state, you obey. Right? The other day on the BBC, I heard one of the disciples of one of these people, an European girl, saying to the interviewer that she's left her family, her friends, all the past, and joined this particular group of ideas. And my guru, she said, my guru will tell me exactly what I should do. When to marry, when to have children, when to have sex, when to have babies. I've given myself over to him. Right? This is what the Catholic Church has done for centuries, right? Only this new thing is rather attractive, because it comes from the Orient, rather slightly romantic, scented and chants and songs and all the rest of it, dance, and you fall for it. Because there is the desire inside you to have this extraordinary sense of security, so that you are never, never, never disturbed, never uncertain. Right? So in investigating rationally into the question of authority, if there is any form of obedience, because in obedience there is security, when you see that in that very obedience there is great illusion, then you drop obedience instantly. You understand what I'm saying? Do you actually observe, are you aware, as you are aware of your heartbeat or your pulse, or how are you so deeply aware that in any form of obedience there is not only division, but there is conflict, there is imitation, conformity, and therefore endless struggle, which ultimately leads to various kinds of illusions. Right? Do you see this? If you see this morning, then it's over. Then you have dropped it. Then you will never, under any circumstance, obey anybody, including Jesus, or the Buddha, or Krishna, or whoever it is, including the speaker. Then you are a total human being representing all humanity. Your consciousness has undergone a change, right? Which is undergone through the perception, which is the awakening of intelligence. That intelligence says, finished forever this authority. Because you have finished authority, the awakening of that intelligence comes. You understand? And therefore it affects your consciousness.